Good evening, visitors, and welcome to the Australian War Memorial's Last Post ceremony. My name is Sharon Bown, and joining us this evening from the Royal Australian Air Force is Wing Commander David Scher. We welcome the veterans who have served, those that continue to serve, and the families that love and support them. We acknowledge the members of RSL and Services Clubs Association, RSL Victoria and RSL Queensland, who are watching a broadcast of this ceremony across Australia. During this evening's ceremony, wreaths will be laid at the base of the pool of reflection by visitors to the memorial. If you are able, would you please stand and join us in singing the National Anthem. Those requiring a seat, please be seated. The Australian War Memorial was the vision of Charles Bean, Australia's First World War official historian. Bean landed with the Australian troops on Gallipoli and stayed with them at the front through to the end of the war. The idea of this national memorial and museum came to him at Pozières, France, in the depths of the bloody fighting of 1916. Bean's idea was that this would be a place where family and friends could mourn loved ones buried in faraway places. It would also be a place that could help all Australians understand what these men and women had endured and what they had done for us. Bean's vision, to which we remain true, is best expressed as inscribed in the entrance to the memorial's galleries. Here is their spirit, in the heart of the land they loved, and here we guard the record which they themselves made. Tonight we will read the story behind just one of those on the Roll of Honour, which lists the names of more than 102,000 men and women who have given their lives for us in war and on operations for more than a century. But first, we present a lament, Flowers of the Forest. Wreaths and floral tributes will now be laid at the base of the pool of reflection.
Today we remember and pay tribute to Private William Benjamin Jenkins. William Jenkins, known as Bill, was born in 1882, the eldest son of William and Mary Jenkins of Echuca, Victoria. He was educated at the Echuca State School and went on to work as a labourer in the Kyabram district. When war broke out in August 1914, Bill Jenkins decided to enlist. It was reported that he'd been reading of the cruelty of the Huns to women and children, and so he made up his mind that he would go and do his bit to avenge their wrongs. Although one of the first to volunteer at Echuca, Bill was initially not successful due to problems with his teeth. He immediately sought medical treatment, and in late September 1914, he was accepted for active service. Private Bill Jenkins underwent a period of training in Australia before leaving for active service overseas with reinforcements to the 14th Battalion on board the troopship Clan McGilvray. He was first sent to Egypt, where he came down with the flu and had to be hospitalised for a short period. From there, he was sent to Gallipoli. The exact date that Private Bill Jenkins arrived in Gallipoli was not recorded. He was on the peninsula by August 1915. His best mate, Private A.E. Dudley, described how, on the 8th of August, we went through a big charge together and got through all right, and another on the 21st. Bill wrote to his brother after the first charge, saying, I may be able to come back to Australia safe and sound, but I will not be able to tell of the tale of this war, as it is too dreadful to speak of. Towards the end of August, Jenkins wrote, Dudley and myself are still alive and kicking. They had me on last night digging and burying the dead comrades, Australian heroes that had given up their lives for the dear old home and country. This is all the news I can tell you, as it cuts our hearts when we see our comrades dying before our eyes. For much of his time on Gallipoli, Bill Jenkins was suffering from dysentery. On the 17th of August, he wrote, I have been very bad with dysentery for the last 4 weeks now, and still fighting my way at the front with the boys. So that means I will not give in until I am forced to. I am determined to go right through until the Turks drop me with a bullet like the rest of the brave 14th Battalion. Weeks later, he was complaining of cramps on his left side and writing home to say that the doctors were unable to help. Later, Private Bill Jenkins was rumoured to have been taken prisoner. How this report surfaced is hard to say, but his parents were notified in Australia by letters from Bill's mates on Gallipoli. In late September 1915, military authorities too reported that they had records to say that Jenkins was unofficially reported a prisoner of war, previously reported missing. Those reports were incorrect. Bill Jenkins had been overcome by the dysentery. Although he had sought treatment for the disease, he had continued to hold the front line, conduct 2 major operations, and spend at least one night out digging graves while sick. On the 27th of August, his determination could sustain him no longer, and he was taken to a nearby field ambulance. There was little hope of recovery, and 2 days later he died. Private Dudley wrote to Bill's parents to tell them how their son died. He wrote, "Your son was never a prisoner. He died very suddenly on the 29th of August. He fought hard and bravely for his country and died a very easy death. He was given a proper burial close to the sea. I was very sorry to hear of his death, for he was a brave comrade and my best mate. I miss my dear mate very much." Private Bill Jenkins' grave was lost after the evacuation, and today he is commemorated on the Lone Pine Memorial. He was 32 years old. His name is listed on the roll of honour on my right, among almost 62,000 Australians who died while serving in the First World War. A photograph of his name listed on the Lone Pine Memorial is displayed today beside the pool of reflection. This is but one of the many stories of service and sacrifice told here at the Australian War Memorial. We now remember Private William Benjamin Jenkins, who gave his life for us, for our freedoms, and in the hope of a better world.
Please stand for the reading of the Ode and the sounding of the last post.
They shall grow not old, as we that are left grow old. Age shall not weary them, nor the years condemn. At the going down of the sun, and in the morning, we will remember them.
We will remember them.
Lest we forget.
Lest we forget. We leave you this evening with the words of the memorial's founder, Charles Bean. Many a man lying out there at Pozieres or in the low scrub at Gallipoli with his poor, tired senses barely working through the fever of his brain, has thought in his last moments, well, it's over. But in Australia, they will be proud of this. Ladies and gentlemen, girls and boys, that concludes the last post ceremony. We thank you all for visiting the Australian War Memorial, and we wish you all a very good evening. Thank you.